everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com, back again with another massive news update. We're going to talk about Queen of the Ring. What's Queen of the Ring, you ask? Well, we're not entirely sure, but apparently there are reports out there suggesting that WWE could be launching it next year. And based on the name alone, it's probably going to be a tournament, isn't it? Probably an all-women's one. But more on that in just a second. We're also going to talk about Alexa Bliss amid conflicting reports that she is cleared or isn't cleared to return to the ring. We're going to have a look at both of those claims and see which one's more likely, I guess. Finally, as well, we're going to talk about the return of a beloved wrestling show, in a way, to MTV. That's right, Celebrity Deathmatch is hitting our screens once again. For those who don't remember it, I'll give you a little hint of what it was like towards the end of this video. But let's waste no further time and let's crack on with all of the news. First and foremost, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Queen of the Ring is in the works for next year, according to WWE. This is on the back of the wonderful response to Evolution, one of WWE's best received network specials of 2018. Apparently they're keen for another all-women's show in 2019, and this could very much be the name of it. Queen of the Ring. Obviously this will be based on King of the Ring, which ran, I believe, if I'm correct, from 85 till 02, and then sporadically after that. And then it was last held not as a proper pay-per-view, but as like a network special, I guess, in 2015 when it was won by Wade Barrett, now known as Stu Bennett on the Indies. Considering it's called Queen of the Ring, we must assume that it's going to be some kind of single elimination all women's tournament, which I think would be really cool. The problem, I guess, with these sort of tournaments is that one show dedicated to an entire tournament can be very hit and miss. It can often feature lots of short matches without any match getting time to really shine until the end of the tournament. Maybe even sometimes the end of the tournament matches also don't have much time to shine. But if done in the right way, and if some of the preliminary stages, I would suggest, are done on regular television, then it could absolutely be a killer show. The women's division have proved that with the right booking and the right matchups, they can put on one hell of a pay-per-view, as we saw at Evolution. So personally, it's an idea that I'm pretty excited for, and I'd be totally behind giving it a chance, but at the same time, not because it's the women's division, but because it's tournament format, I suppose, I'm a little bit wary. Now on to one of the key members of that women's division, Alexa Bliss, the current head, the sort of de facto head of the Raw women's division. But obviously we haven't seen her wrestle for quite some time, and there have been conflicting reports that she is or isn't ready for a full return to the ring. Earlier this week, Mark Henry came out and said, yep, she's ready for a return. We're all delighted and can't wait to have Alexa back. And then basically put her over, which I agree with. I think she's really charismatic, and she is ever improving in the ring. You know, she started off being not that hot in the ring. Now she can be counted upon to have a pretty good match when she needs to, especially against the right opponent. But her strength, of course, is on the microphone, which may be the reason why WWE haven't rushed her back from her injury problems, because she can still do a fantastic job on the microphone or as a slightly unofficial authority figure, as we're seeing currently. But then today, Dave Meltzer's come out and said that no, she's not ready for a full return to the ring at all. He's kind of conflicting with Mark Henry, so I guess it's just one man's word against the others, or one man's sources against a man in the company, which, you know, I suppose there's different ways of looking at that. But Meltzer suggested that Bliss was taking light bumps at the Performance Center about a week ago, slightly more than a week ago, and was under sort of medical supervision while she was doing this, which to me, and I'm no expert, but it doesn't sound like she's ready for a full return if she's taking such precautions. It doesn't sound like she's fully fighting fit yet, in other words. Then again, we have to consider the fact that Mark Henry is very much still a part of WWE and maybe knows better. Then again, we have to consider the fact that maybe he's trying to put more of a positive spin on it because he's from WWE. There are loads of angles we can look at this at, but what I take away from this is that Alexa Bliss is nearing a return to the ring. She hasn't been seen since sort of mid-October in a match at a live event, and I think even if she is ready to return, WWE will be in no rush to hurry her back. And they're probably right to be taking all these precautions because she can still do a fantastic job on the microphone, doesn't necessarily need to have matches, and it's probably best not to jeopardize her long-term career by rushing her back. We don't really have any clearer news than that, unfortunately. It's Mark Henry versus Meltzer, and that is a match that I would pay to see any day of the week. And finally, MTV have announced that they're bringing back Celebrity Deathmatch. Now, for those of you who don't remember Celebrity Deathmatch, I think it ran from 98 till 2002 initially, and then I think it ran for maybe one or two further seasons in the mid-2000s, but certainly not for a great stretch of time. Basically, what Celebrity Deathmatch was like some kind of clay animation parody of a wrestling show where two celebrities or musical figures or politicians or people in the public eye would be made out of clay and they would wrestle each other in outlandish and wacky and often very violent fashion. Sounds like a good thing? I know it certainly was for me. I loved it back in the early 2000s, but then again, I was only about 8 or 9 years old, but it was really good. There's nothing really else like it on television. It was like Itchy and Scratchy meets Wallace and Gromit under the guise of wrestling. I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny, but maybe my tastes have matured since then. I'll certainly be checking it out when it comes back though, because I'm interested to see what happens, whether it has more wrestling references in it, whether it's more aware of its whole sense of humor, I guess, because it was kind of chaotic and erratic back then. But I think maybe now there could be a more knowing approach, I suppose, to the sense of humour. The president of MTV has come out and said deathmatch was the meme before memes. It remains a hot topic on social media and it'll be a smart, funny way to tackle the over-the-top rhetoric of today's pop culture where it belongs, in the wrestling ring. So from that, I think it sounds as though it's going to be much the same as it was back in the day, more focused on lampooning celebrity culture rather than the wrestling industry. But you never know. It also sounds like the fact that he said where it belongs, in the wrestling ring, maybe suggests that he's also gonna throw us wrestling fans a bone or two. Who knows? We'll have to wait and check it out. Unfortunately, there is no release date announced yet, but I suspect it'll probably be sometime in 2019. I'm only saying that because there's less than a month left to 2018 and it's probably a safe bet. So, cheers. Then again, I don't know how long it takes to animate such things or whether they've started yet, so it could be even longer. Who knows? More on that when further news breaks. Thank you for watching this video. I've been Jack from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to at Jack the Jobber. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic and check out our Patreon as well, patreon.com/Cultaholic. And never forget, of course, if you haven't done so already, to hit subscribe and to join us.